A Salem company is helping the environment by widening Pringle Creek. The company Loose Ends is the first private company to work with the Oregon Watershed to widen that creek. They hope it'll bring back the area's natural habitat, enabling wildlife and fish to flourish. Salem Mayor Janet Taylor and a representative from the governor's office were at today's event. They were joined by students from an environmental school.
And the amount of life that's in it, you just look at it as a little flowing water, but there's over 1,000 little fish in this quarter-of-a-mile stretch, plus periwinkles and water skippers.
It will be open to the public. They're going to let children come in for educational training about what creeks can do for a community, so it's going to be a tremendous asset.
That project is expected to be finished within the next couple of weeks.
Hey, my name is Art Ranke. We own a piece of property, a commercial building over on Madrona next to Boise Cascade, and we have a little creek that's running through the back side of it. So one of the things that we've wanted to do is enhance the bank. There's lots of fish, amphibians, little eels, crawdads, and a lot of life that come up and going down the creek. And we want to take and develop it so during these real high periods of flood that they can move out of the way and instead of getting swept down, and then on the surface make it very appealing to the eye. The two things it should, one, it'll enhance for wildlife, and if done properly, it should enhance the value of the property. And one of the things we want to do is when it's done is invite people, other landowners over to look at it to see if it is something they would want to do with their property. So we're real tickled with it, and we're anxious to get going with it.
The Loose Ends project at Pringle Creek covers only a 250-foot section of the stream. However, even a small project such as this requires detailed coordination between the private landowners, the city agencies, and the funding sources, such as the grants obtained from the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board and the City of Salem.
Public Works Department provides grants for enhancing watersheds. So Loose Ends is a project that a grant was applied for and was awarded to do the enhancement of the Pringle Creek bank out here at the Loose Ends property. So that's how we're involved with the funders. We have a permit with the state of Oregon that for stormwater discharge. And that permit requires that the stormwater in the creek be of a certain quality. So anytime that we can enhance nature's ability to cleanse that water moves us closer to meeting the requirements of the stormwater permit.
Well, the first things that happened when we got the property, we noticed a young man coming out, and he was taking the water temperature and measuring water height. And so we asked him what exactly he was doing, and he explained the whole program. So we got Al White's phone number, gave Al a call, and said, hey, this is something we're real interested in. And so Al came over, introduced himself, laid out the possibilities, and since my wife and I are both very we're gardeners, so we're environmentally conscious about it, and we said this is definitely, we want to be part of it. And then off to the races, and here we are now.
The Pringle Creek watershed covers an area over 13 square miles and is located in southeast Salem, Oregon. Years ago, as the city began to build on the land, the stream became a channel for simply removing storm water in an effort to prevent flooding. Early projects focused only on moving the water out quickly and safely with little care towards the water quality or habitat. In more recent decades, the management of urban renewal projects has led to improved and environmentally friendly methods to move and filter the stormwater. This includes new technologies such as bioswales and use of a special perforated asphalt that make it possible to manage stormwater naturally rather than simply pushing everything out into the streams. The next phase of caring for the watershed is to restore the natural elements of the stream and stream banks that make it possible to sustain the many insect, mammal and fish inhabitants that rely upon the stream for survival. These projects require considerable coordination and planning, from the simple projects such as the loose end stream enhancement to more complex efforts like the restructuring of a stream through large wood placement, as seen here at the Fairview Training Center in Salem.
Well, before these logs were put in, this was a pretty shallow stream. It was just a layer of gravel. The water wasn't much more than 6 inches. And that was one of the problems with the trout. They didn't have any deep pools to hide in the summer. After putting these logs here, what we now have is a very deep pool at the downstream side, some deep pools right in the middle of the jam, and some nice spawning gravels right above that the logs have trapped. When the high water comes up, this actually turns into a big lake, and it provides a lot of living space for the fish. They can get out of the high velocity water and move off to the side and even find food there to eat. These types of structures were common in the streams before things were disturbed by people. We've walked the length of the stream and there's no other natural jams like this. But it doesn't take much to create them. You just bring the logs in and place them and then stabilize them a bit, and it works pretty good. The project had a bumpy beginning. Being a city stream, it has flows that are higher than normal. The pavement in the upper watershed causes the peak flows in this stream to be about 3 times as what it used to be. So the city has a lot of concerns about not flooding out people who live nearby, and this was actually a good area to put logs in streams because there's nothing around here to flood. But it required a change in city code to be able to do this project, so we worked over a year at getting that process through. The actual construction of the structure was just a half a day for the 3 structures down through here, and the expense was pretty reasonable. These will last probably 50 years or so, and they're secure and they won't be moving very far downstream. So this is a good example of what we're shooting for.
Their first step is, especially in smaller cities, is usually directly to their city council to see if this is a program that a city would be interested in funding. I don't believe this is common throughout the state. I know the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board provides these types of grants. We own a large enough water and sewer utility where we have the capability of providing these grants to groups that want to do enhancements along our streams. The City of Salem is blessed with many urban streams, and we have had a reawakening, if you will, over the last 15 years that these streams are important to us. These are the kinds of things that may typically be funded through sewer rates, because usually it's sewer rates that are paying for stormwater facilities, and that's what we're doing here. This is a stormwater facility that we're trying to make nicer.
Oregon Watershed has done everything. I mean, they have literally, we signed a letter of commitment. We let them know what we wanted out of it, which is basically to make sure it looks nice and is very pleasing. We don't have to worry about it and get nervous and anything, because Al keeps saying he's going to take care of it, and it's going, it's going, it's going. So we know that eventually at some point it's going to go. And Al gets all the frustrations of dealing with the bureaucracy. So we've been real lucky that way.
This kind of project is a great opportunity to make the area look nicer, bring the stream back to a more natural look, and help us meet our permit requirements. So it's a win-win-win situation for us at the City of Salem.
We would love to invite anybody that wants to come by and look at it when it's done and see if it enhanced their property. It's obviously should be, it's environmentally friendly, but we look at it as it should enhance the experience of the work environment and enhance the value of the property. And if that happens, why wouldn't every landowner along the creek do it?
Organizations like Oregon Watersheds facilitate and coordinate the permit process, secure the funding sources, and schedule the contractors to carry out the tasks of design, blueprints, planning, and ultimately performing the actual in-stream restructuring. All permit requests, designs, and detailed plans are repeatedly scrutinized by multiple city agencies, the Division of State Lands, and the Corps of Engineers. Local residents also participate during City Council sessions, where neighbors are provided a forum for asking questions and airing their potential concerns with the project. After all of the planning and coordination, the physical work would seem to be the easy part, usually completing in just a single day. Volunteers and workers turn out for the big day, and the heavy equipment is brought in to reshape the surrounding bank and reset the natural contours of a healthy stream. The backhoe is placed carefully along the stream so as not to cause any damage to the bank or stream bed. After the bank is graded and shaped according to plan, boulders are placed in predestined locations to help control the flows during both low and high water periods. This redesign of nature is essential in making sure the changes stay in place in the years to come. Although the area recovers quickly, erosion control netting is placed along the stream bank to help hold the dirt and seed materials in place while the ground cover and plants are given a chance to take root. Sedges, rushes, and other native species are put in place, and now the project is entering into its final stage.
Well, when we first got here, it was just basically sort of a straight ditch going through here. And the kids from the school were coming down and taking water temperature tests, and that's how we met Al White. And so we started doing some string bank enhancement, and there was probably, half a dozen to a dozen real small fish in this area. And since the restoration and enhancement, there's probably 50 to 100 in each one of these little pools that are thriving and doing quite well. So it does work, and when the water does come up, it forms backwashes in these areas where the water is not fast moving, so the fish have an ability to escape the torrent that actually comes down.
Located just 15 yards from the back door of the Loose Ends building, the stream enhancement provides habitat for wildlife and a beautiful and natural landscape.
Basically, when they came in, it took one day to get the project done. It was a lot of fun, lots of people coming in watching, lots of local interest, you know. And our idea is to take, and as this comes, matures, what we wanted to take is flowering dogwood and put it around the top. Basically make a place that people would want to do it to their yard. They're not afraid of the government coming in and participating or monitoring their bank enhancement. And so that more people will enhance it and benefit the wildlife and everything else. So for us, it was a very pleasurable experience.
We'd like to thank Sandy and Art Renke for their patience and participation in the stream enhancement process, and special thanks to Peter Fernandez from the City of Salem Public Works Department. Funding for this project was provided through grants from the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board and the City of Salem Public Works Department.